Hey y'all, I am 6 weeks officially post-op from my surgery. And I know the last time you saw me, I let you guys know that everything was going well at my 4-week post-op check and that you wouldn't see me or hear from me if everything stayed the same and everything was great. But some things have changed, so I want to update you guys on that. Between my 4-week post-op check and now, it's been about 2 weeks, and I've noticed a couple things that I either hadn't had before or some things that I grew a little bit concerned about. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been having some sternal pain. So some kind of pain in my breastbone area since my last expander fill. And noticed it mostly when I'm like bending over to pick something up or when I'm reaching out for something. Doesn't last for very long, but at times can be quite uncomfortable. And my assumption is that discomfort is from the skin stretching, because this is the biggest that my expanders have been thus far. Nothing that I need to use medication for, but something I just had been noticing that has been happening more frequently over the last couple of weeks, and I hadn't had that before now. The thing that I've noticed that I've been a little bit concerned about is since about my 4-week post-op check, I've noticed that under my left breast there was a small area of skin kind of right in the fold that, while overall had been healing well, just hadn't quite completely closed up yet. There had been a little scab on it that has come off, but the skin hasn't quite finished healing. No pain though, no bleeding, no drainage or anything from it, but just it hasn't completely closed yet. And kind of more concerning is on my right breast, there is an area kind of the vertical part of my incision that's about this big that has a pretty good sized scab on it. Now, the scab has been there for several weeks now, but generally as the wound heals, I would expect that scab to kind of get smaller and smaller and then eventually fall off or go away. And what's concerning is I haven't seen the scab get smaller. It hasn't come off yet either, which concerned me that there might be some delayed healing going on this side. I am right-handed. I'm kind of dominant right-armed, so I do a lot of things with my right side. Now, I haven't been doing any crazy lifting or anything like that. I have picked up my babies twice, and I'm not supposed to. I've been getting yelled at by my family, but overall I haven't done any crazy things with my right hand, right arm. I just noticed that that scab just hadn't gotten any smaller. So when I started noticing that kind of sternal discomfort, and it happened several times, I sent an email over to my surgeon saying, hey, I'm experiencing the sternal pain. I think it's related to the fill of the expander, but not really sure. And I've got a couple of areas of concerns on my incisions. Just want you to take a look and make sure I don't need to do anything different. And actually my surgeon reached out to me and actually wanted to see me in person. So I just came from the appointment with him, and he definitely confirmed that sternal pain is something that's likely related to the expansion of the expanders, kind of the stretching of the skin. It's not an uncommon feeling, so not to be too worried about that. In terms of the incision not being completely closed over here, he said that's also pretty common because when incisions are in the fold like that, they can get moist, they can just are an easier place to not heal quite as well. That overall the incision here looks pretty good on this left side, but to not worry so much about that area just because of where it's located, give it a little bit more time to heal. In terms of this right side, he was as concerned as I was about the scab not getting smaller. And although there doesn't appear to be any signs of infection, that kind of the top of the incision has healed well, kind of underneath has healed well, he is concerned about the size of the scab. And so his recommendation to help promote better healing, quicker healing, is to actually do something called a revision, which is where he takes me back to the operating room, takes out that scab, takes out any skin or tissue that hasn't been healing well, and then kind of put fresh skin, healthy skin together and kind of reclose the incision. So while I was not surprised that there was kind of delayed healing in this side, hence the scab, I was a little bit surprised that he wanted to take me back to the operating room. But I am all for improved healing, quick healing, And I want to make sure that it heals well. What's super important as well that he mentioned is also when we go to exchange the expanders for the implants, we're going to be going through the same incision. So we want to make sure that that incision heals well, closes well. We don't want to have to worry about delayed healing for that surgery as well. So this particular procedure should be really, really quick. Recovery should be really, really quick because, again, we're just going to reclose. We're going to take out this skin that hasn't healed, reclose what's there, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to work quicker and all of that. I'm supposed to go back to work on Monday, so this is I'm filming this on a Tuesday. I'm supposed to go back to work on Monday. He actually said it's okay for me to go back to work. It's okay for me to kind of resume normal activities and all of that. But to keep the incisions covered, and he gave me some cream to put on the incisions just to tide me over until we're able to do that revision. So that's why I'm not showing you what it looks like, because he just covered them just a few hours ago. But I will show you before and after the procedure. I wouldn't consider this a complication of surgery necessarily. Wound healing is always, we always pray for the best, but prepare for the worst, if that makes sense. Our skin can heal in whatever way it wants. Sometimes it heals perfectly, like it has been doing on this side, and sometimes it doesn't. And we have to deal with that. These are big incisions, a big surgery. So this is not something that isn't unusual and it isn't uncommon. So I don't consider this a complication, maybe a little bit of a setback because I've got to go back to the operating room to have it kind of cleaned up and closed. But I'd rather do that and make sure that it heals well and the skin heals the way it's supposed to and a lot quicker than kind of waiting to see if this will eventually close itself. I'm not sure when I'm going to be going back to the operating room. He has to get me all scheduled for that, but I imagine it'll be in the next 2 weeks or so. So in the meantime, I'm going to go back to work. He says it's safe to do so unless something really substantially changes, like I develop an infection or something like that. So I'm going to go back to work and plan to take a very small amount of time off once I get scheduled. Surgery is not all sunshines and rainbows. I have had such a good recovery up until this point. I am not going to complain. I'm not going to be sad or upset. I trust my body. I trust my surgeon, and I trust the healing process. So this is just a minor setback. We're going to deal with this. We're going to get it all taken care of, and I'm going to get back to life.